Welcome to the Spiritual Awakening with Shaz podcast, where we unlock the power within and navigate the journey of your self-discovery together. I'm Shaz, your spiritual mentor and life coach, here to help you tap into your inner guidance system and manifest your best life. Whether you're just beginning your spiritual journey or looking to deepen your practice, this podcast offers insights, techniques, and inspiration to elevate your consciousness and transform your reality. Get ready to shine your light and embrace your true potential. Remember, the answers are inside you. Let me be your guide on earth. Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Spiritual Awakening podcast with Shaz. I'm so glad you're here. Today, I'm going to be going into a deep heart-to-heart about one of the factors of the spiritual awakening process not many people talk about, and it's one of the biggest ways that people start to wake up is they start to realize and recognize that they're in survival mode, or they have some sort of trauma problem, or have been living with or confronted by a narcissist. Now, I'm not a big fan of labeling people as narcissists. I do believe narcissism is a behavioral aspect, and people can change. Everyone can change. A lot of people out there are going to say, no, once a narcissist, always a narcissist. But actually, they also can go through a spiritual awakening. They can change. They can alter their behavior. It is not a disorder or a disease or something that you're always stuck with, because ultimately, the only way you really realize that someone else is exhibiting narcissistic tendencies is when you start to learn from them and mimic their behavior, and you become narcissistic in self. And that's how I know it can change. I lived and grew up with a narcissistic parent who unfortunately doesn't want to change. That's her choice. That's her soul. That's her journey. Okay. I can't change that. I can't alter it for her. But when I started to realize that I was exhibiting the same behavior and I definitely didn't want to become my mother, that is when I started to realize that it is a behavioral aspect. And I chose to alter it. I chose to change it. I chose to be better for me and for everything about me. And this is where the choice comes in. I also chose to realize that that's not normal. Now, a lot of us don't like the word normal, because actually, what is normal? I don't feel that there is any real aspect where we can define normalcy. But what I considered normal behavior and a normal childhood and a normal lifestyle, in essence, turned out to be totally abnormal. But the brain and the mind categorized it as normal, because heaven forbid we need to categorize things as broken or problematic, because that's how we don't survive. And that's how we actually get into survival mode. We normalize things that are abnormal to make it easier for ourselves to cope. And survival mode is a coping mechanism. It doesn't get talked about anywhere near enough, and especially in the spiritual spaces, because they all like to just talk about love and light and getting over things, healing things, letting go. But survival mode has a purpose. Most empaths, and I had debates about this in myself when somebody described it this way, but as you grow and learn and evolve and understand and accept different things from different people, I could see and understand their perspective. Do I think it was the only way as the way they were describing it? No, I don't. But I do understand it from the depth of how they were getting to the point. And most empaths are born from survival mode. That is how the empathy kicks in. They read the room. They're aware of what's going on around them. They're very vigilant in situations. Many, many years ago, I was out at a club having some fun with friends, and I could feel this energy, this anger coming from someone. And thankfully, I was very in tune with self, and I grabbed my friend and I moved him out of the way. And 2 seconds later, a massive bar brawl broke out right where we were standing. And we were in the line of fire. And I never realized at the time that my empathy saved me, that energy, that awareness. This person wasn't even in the room yet when I felt the vibrational frequency of what was coming. They literally just walked over, seen the person that they hated, and decided to attack them. And thankfully and blessedly, I listened to that feeling in my body that told me I wasn't safe. And I grabbed my friend and moved us out of the line of fire. This is how empathy shows up for a lot of people. They're always reading the room. What is the temperature or the mood of the parent or the caretaker or the person that they're living with to gauge whether they are in good mode or whether they're fighting for their life? And this is where fight and flight comes in. And it's subtle, quiet, energetic changes. Many, many people don't notice them. I'm always quite surprised to come across non-empathic people because I like to think that's normal. Everybody's empathic. That's my mode. Everybody's has intuition. Everybody is aware. Well, I go to some places and there are many, many people that do not get energy. They do not read the room. They do not understand other people. And then they sit there and go, well, how did conflict arise? How did this happen? How did these things occur? Well, I didn't know. I didn't see it. I didn't feel it. I'm so unaware of other people's vibrational frequency that I live in a little bubble. And sometimes you like to make judgment about that with people, but I do say kudos to them because if they are that calm, it means they actually didn't grow up in any traumatic environment or, unfortunately, they're in complete denial of it. They do wake up eventually. Everybody does in one way or another. And I hope that you don't have to go through the whole survival journey or the whole spiritual breakdown, the dark night of the soul, for want of a better frame. So many people don't realize what leads to their spiritual awakening. For me, it is simply a greater aspect of awareness, of seeing more, becoming more present, of noticing much more. And then it comes from choice of deciding that what you're doing is not actually from your soul. It is not soul-led. It is not divine. You are following the pattern or process from somebody else. And this is where we try to get out of survival mode from living the lifestyle or the life that somebody else has guided us into. So if you've ever felt like you're always holding it together, but you're never really exhaling and letting things go, and you're tired of just coping, you crave real expression, real feeling, real connection, this episode's going to be for you. So first of all, we're going to explore what survival mode really looks like because so many people don't even know. And as I was doing the research for this episode, it just brought back so many memories of things that I didn't even realize I used to do. So this is how I understand of what's going on because I spent so many years in survival mode and called it normal because that was the coping mechanism. That was how I claimed my sanity. Every darkness that I went through, every hardship that happened, I always found something worse. And this is a coping strategy. Okay. Regardless of what happened to me, regardless of the trauma, regardless of the abuse, regardless of the hardship, regardless of the lessons, my motto was, there are starving children in Africa. And that to me was worse. I sat and contemplated that and I always wondered why starving children really got to the heart of me and why I could consider that so, so much worse. And then I did a past life regression where I was hidden away in a wall in wartime in order to save my life. And I literally starved to death. So starvation is a big factor for me. It's also probably why I've gained weight and I eat whatever I want when I want to, because I know what it's really like to go without food. And that's part of the survival mechanism too. I can't say no or hold myself away or limit things simply because it triggers the aspect of the soul that was stuck in that mode of where starvation took over our life. And sometimes you think and wonder, will it go the other way? When you become spiritually aware, you start to question everything, and especially your thoughts and the coping mechanisms that you have, because it's not like anyone force-fed me the scenario that there are starving children out in Africa, although it was something that was said to us. I grew up in the 80s, right? And it's quite common if you didn't eat all your dinner plate and you were Your parents threw it at you because of the 40-hour famine. There are starving children in Africa. Eat everything on your plate, even though you didn't want it. Even though you were full, you were taught that. But this is things that you can change as an adult, and we do come back to free will and choice. Survival mode, people think, is panic and chaos. It's actually really subtle. Some of the ways that it looks can be constant overthinking, like running a decision through your head 10 times, 100 times, multiple layers. Getting stuck in the what if. Do you know how many people, oh, I can't do that. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this goes wrong? What if the worst case scenario? That is the survival mechanism of the empath. They don't want to go to big events and big places with people because what if this goes wrong, or what if that goes wrong? They're afraid of flying. What if the plane falls out of the sky? How many people have said it? How many people have heard it? Unfortunately, if you continue to think, what if the worst case scenario, that is the thought process, the energy that you're putting out there, and law of attraction will make that happen for you. But this is where we have to monitor and understand who we are, what we think, and make choices in what we're saying and verbalizing to the universe. Another factor of being in survival mode is that numb or flat feeling, even really during really good moments. Have you ever been somewhere it's really exciting, you're really happy, and you notice that you're numb? How many people tell you that they can't feel love? They feel the essence of it. I love this person, but I can't feel it back. I have no love of self. I have no connection to it. I'm really excited, but I also feel really out of it underneath. Apathy. A lot of people feel that without even realizing it, simply because it is a survival mode mechanism where you just can't feel or have compassion for other people because it takes too much energy and it's exhausting. Being exhausted in social situations and interactions with other people, walking into the shopping center and being totally drained and overwhelmed and just out of it because of the energy and frequency of everybody else in there. These are all aspects of the survival mode. People also get fixated on what needs to be fixed, what needs to be healed next, rather than sitting with it, finding the space, allowing the calmness, and just being present. A lot of people in survival mode do not settle for the present. They have a lot of anxiety because they have fear of the future. They worry about tomorrow. They're worried about what's coming next. The fear, the what if this happens, or what's going to happen? What is the next thing that I have to get over? How can I just enjoy the present moment, the calmness, that blessed peace, that centralization, the grounding, the coming into self? So many people can't do it when they're in survival mode. It becomes really hard for you to do and be when it's like that. Some people realize it, many people don't. Have you ever felt like you're doing all the right things, but you still feel stuck? This because you're in that fight or flight mode. You're not sure what to do next. You're too afraid to dream and hope for something better. You get lost in the essence of who you are because you're so used to defending yourself and surviving. Survival mode's there for a reason, and that's where fear comes from in its own self, is because doing whatever it may do may lead to death, because that is the underlying fear. Have you ever felt like I can't seem to relax, even when nothing's wrong? That I have to get up and keep moving. I've got to wash the dishes, take care of the kids. I can't sit still. I can't be grounded and centered. I can't stay still. Heaven forbid the thoughts that come, the overwhelm, the overthinking. The whole aspect of just being present is very hard for anyone still stuck in survival mode. Here's the thing about survival mode. It's not your fault. You get blamed for it, and people like to just go, get out of it, make it easy for yourself, stop doing that. but it's a learned pattern and it's part of your nervous system that underneath truly thinks it's keeping you safe. This is the part that people don't realize when you are stuck in that mode and you've been there for so long. You think that's the safety net. You think that's normal because that is your normal. That is the thought that keeps you alive. Being present becomes really hard because you have to stay alert. You have to be prepared and you have to be emotionally guarded for what's coming next. Because when you feel that you're not and something does come that's untoward or unhappy, you fall apart. We get stuck in a loop of this and it never quite sets you apart from anybody else and you never really feel free, even when you're technically okay. But if you do take moments out, breathe and find yourself, you can regulate yourself into a new normal. It's not something like people like to hear about. It's not something people want to accept, but you do have to create a normal functioning space within your mind, within your body, and within your environment. Survival mode can be so exhausting, and it wears you out. It's where we run into burnout. It's where we run into physical and emotional and mental problems, and we get sick because we're so motorized into programming ourselves that we have to be this way in order to live and survive. That's what it's about, continuous living. And you can come and say, why do you stay in it? And it is simply because the nervous system, the body, and the mind thinks it's safe. It's familiar. It's predictable. This is why many people stay in toxic relationships and unhealthy environments in either workplaces or home environments, anything like that, because it is predictable, is something they're aware of, and they feel they already know how to cope with it because they've gained the coping mechanisms to survive each day. It creates deep trauma, burnout, betrayal, emotional neglect. Your system learns that vigilance is necessary to survive when it doesn't have to be the case. You don't even realize that you are unintentionally reinforcing survival modes. You can go to spiritual places and be around spiritual people. And unknowingly, they can help you solidify that this is safe. Just raise your vibration and keep doing the work, and you will constantly be under this pressure that you're never allowed to rest. And we sometimes think we're helping. I've done it before, unfortunately, and I had to sit and forgive myself for it. Just raise your vibration and snap out of it. It's not actually the way forward. The way is to give yourself time to rest, to integrate and say enough for now, to sit in the quiet, allow it to pass through, to feel it. If you feel it and acknowledge it and find the source of it and sit with it, this is the greatest grace and gift that you can give yourself, to just sit with the energy, be present with it, inquire about it. What is it? Why is it feeling that way? Acknowledge it, thank it, and then you can release it. But you can't release something that you don't truly understand. This is why I value journaling so much, because it allows you to go deep into understanding what is the story really telling you. What is the process of what's going on? I never knew half of my trauma until I started to journal through it and ask myself, what actually went on? What happened in order to make me feel this way? And what were the feelings that I had back then compared to the feelings that I have now? Because survival mode is thinking that you're still in those feelings that you had before and not catching up to the part where you've actually overcome it. And you have new lessons and new growth and new powerful aspects of self. When you're stuck in survival mode so long, you actually feel guilty for wanting to feel joy, for wanting to be present and have calm and serenity in your life. Sometimes being labeled the healer or the empath, the one that holds it all together, actually can be detrimental to your own well-being, especially to the mental health side of it. You have to be the calm one. You have to be the strong one. And your feelings don't matter. But your feelings do matter. Survival mode is essentially an armor that we wear, even in healing. We don't allow ourselves to go deep. We don't allow ourselves to feel everything. We don't give ourselves time. But armor does get heavy. The weight and the burden of that and the emotional thoughts and triggers that lie within you really do get heavy. And you have permission to put it down. You're not meant to carry it forever. I want to walk you through some very simple processes and tips of how to get out of survival mode. Okay, one of the big things that a lot of people talk about nowadays, and back when I was going through all of this, I wish I knew about the vagus nerve and the different aspects of how we can regulate our system. The vagus nerve lies along the top of our head, and just simply doing this, running your fingers, like just imagine typing and typing on the top of your head. This can really calm the nervous system. Sit and do this for a couple of minutes and see how you feel. It's really quite powerful and amazing. You ever get stuck in fight or flight mode and you're not sure what to do? Hum. Chant the sound. It flows through the voice. It stimulates the vagus nerve through vibration. Even the Have you ever noticed an autistic person sit there and do humming, and we call it stimming or labeling it something else? Do you know that they're unconsciously activating their vagus nerve to calm them down? When they get into overwhelm, when they get into all sorts of energy that they can't focus on, it's an unconscious reaction for them to do that and make that sound. And in time, it calms them down. A very simple way, if you're feeling so overwhelmed and you're not sure what you're doing, is to go and splash your face with cold water, grab an ice pack, wherever you're brave enough, go and sit in an ice bath. 10 to 30 seconds in an ice bath totally resets the whole system. That's why a lot of sports people do it after they do big sports. They go and immerse themselves in cold water to regulate the body again. Not a fan of ice baths, but because I had trauma associated with it when I was young. When I was 5 years old, I overheated and my temperature was so high. The treatment back then was to sit you in an ice bath. I was in it for 4 hours, screaming that I'm frozen, get me out of here. Using profanity a 5-year-old shouldn't know. But from that trauma, I'm not that big fan. I like warm pools. I like warm water. But I do know that if I'm ever feeling so overwhelmed, I will go to the cold tap and splash my face, and it does instantly set you free. Put an ice pack on your chest for a few seconds. It's a calming trigger. My other favorite one is just to rhythmically play the drums on the chest. This process will bring you out of anxiety and panic. It will help reset the vagus nerve and the frequency within your body. Long exhales really help too. If you're breathing fast, and a lot of people in panic are hyperventilating, so they're in and out very fast. But when you breathe in, take it very long and slow out. Even if it's just in for 1, out for 2, in for 1, out for 3, in for 1, out for 4. These different breathing exercises will really calm your body down. Something I didn't realize, but when I was researching today, I found out that if you sing or gargle really loudly, that also activates the vagus nerve. And as you know, if you know me at all, I like to test and measure everything. So I started singing out loud. I love it. I sing really badly though, but that's okay. Nobody else has to listen. And if you do, too bad. But simply activating the voice, and sometimes we do want to scream, we want to shout, we want to elongate sound. And that will calm the body down, bring us back into present moment. Grounding your energy, meditation if you can. But when you're in a panic mode and you are in that fight or flight survival mode, those things are unreasonable. But these things are instantaneous. If you do get really stuck in anxiety and you're having that true panic mode meltdown, do an orienting practice. Look around you, look and name 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. This sensory activity will bring you back to now. If you ever see someone having a total panic attack, an anxiety attack, and they just cannot focus and they're being very close to passing out, utilize this exercise. Ask them, tell me 5 things that you can see. Because it's very easy to see when you're in that panic mode. Then what can you touch? And if they can't touch anything, give them something. Give them your hand. Get them to touch the shirt they're wearing. Get them to feel the seat they're sitting on or whatever they're standing next to. These simple things really matter. Another somatic and breath practice that you can do, we call it the butterfly hat. You know how you sit there and hug yourself? Just on your shoulders, alternate tapping back and forth. This soothes and regulates the body, keeps you safe, creates calmness, and brings you back to present. You ever feel uncomfortable and there's times where your mind's so overwhelmed and you can't get out of it and you want to just go to sleep? 3-minute practice of this, you'll be asleep in no time. Puts me to sleep all the time. A breathing exercise is something called box breathing, which is just simply breathing in for 4. So in for the count of 4, hold for the count of 4, out for the count of 4, hold for the count of 4. And you literally start moving like a square. Well, I do. That breathing will also bring you back to center. And when you're focused on your breath, that in itself is a meditative process. It calms the mind. And just breathe and count. In 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Out 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause 1, 2, 3, 4. And rotate it. Another 2, 3 minutes of that, and you'll be back regulated in your body. Or one of my favorite ways to do it is just to stand up and shake it out. Just shake the body, shake your arms, shake your legs, shimmy, shake your shoulders, even your jaw. It releases stored tension. And if you actually go and watch animals, they all do that. Have you seen a dog when it gets up and it's out of whack and it just wants to shake its whole body? Cats do it too. Go and look at the animal kingdom. They'll give you all the tips in the world of how to maintain yourself and how to regulate your body. It is a natural phenomena in most people. Babies do it all the time. They get up and shake it off and do whatever. When you walk it out and you kink your legs and throw one leg out and stuff like that. I want you to think about it. If you need any of these tips, always come back to this episode. I am going to create a downloadable with the tips and explain how to do them easy for you. Go to the website and you'll be able to download it. I'll have a link in there as I load it up. Survival mode is just one of the processes, and the whole reason for this episode is how to move beyond it. I just wanted to reiterate and share with you what it meant when you're in it, because some people don't even realize that they are. And I'm all about awareness. Not here to label you or put you in a little pocket and say, this is who you are, this is what's going on. I just want to enlighten you and help you see where you're at, what you're doing, and how you can then make it better. As you move back into soul-led living, listening to your soul, attuning to your intuition, connecting with your higher self, and start living from that purpose, this is where awareness becomes very, very important. Sometimes you just need to sit there and ask yourself, as the patterns arise, what is this? Where's this choice coming from? Is this choice coming from fear or from intuition? Is it coming from calm or from chaos? Is it coming from a need to fix something? Or is it coming from the essence of, that's okay, I can just sit back, witness it, be with it, nurture it if I need to, in order to send it on its happy way? Have you ever felt that the moment you said yes to something, you felt all this tension in your body and your chest starts to hyperventilate and you sit there and go, what? Why am I feeling that? I just said yes. That's simply because your intuition, your soul is saying no. It's a survival response. Many people don't even realize it. And they just sit there, oh, no, 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 let's brush it off. That's okay. Nothing's the matter. Think about it, right? If somebody ever made you and said to you, you have to go out and do a public speaking episode and go and talk to this crowd of 3,000 people. What? You're going to go into like spasm of, no, 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 there's this whole rejection. And some people are just going to go, hell yeah, let's go. Pay attention to what you say yes to, because sometimes as a people pleaser and someone who is so used to putting other people's needs first, that yes can be detrimental to your own well-being. Sit with it, witness it, and allow it to pass through the body. Don't override it, just let it be. And then decide, do you really want to do it? Or did you just say yes because you're programmed to, or it's what you are doing to make somebody else feel better, regardless of who you are, where you're at, and what's going on in your life? Thriving actually doesn't begin in the mind, it begins in the body. If your nervous system is deregulated and intuition feels so distant that you can't connect to it anymore, your energy is drained quickly and you're running on fumes, you feel like no matter what you do, there is nothing left in the tank for you. Simple practices of daily grounding through your senses, walking barefoot on the grass, going to hug a tree, doing some breath work, humming like I taught you. These simple things will help you regulate the body. Tapping on the vagus nerve. Sometimes you might need to lay on your bed on your back and just breathe and allow the breaths to regulate the body. Create environments that feel calm. Find peace and stillness rather than overstimulation. So many people in survival mode think it's a great thing to continue just being active, scrolling, watching video after video, binge watching TV, doing anything to distract them from what's going on in their head, rather than finding a calm, peace, and like re-energizing environment. Meditate. And one of the most powerful things you can do is set boundaries that allow you to rest before you become depleted. For the past couple of weeks, I've had weekend after weekend after weekend of event, and it was on the go, on the go, on the go. So Mondays and Tuesdays have been my downtime. Time for self, doing things slow, taking time to breathe, giving myself permission to rest, to rejuvenate, to become the energy that I want to be for the people I need to be when later in the week is when all my major work is happening. It is up to you how you regulate your system. You are in control of self. Healing definitely does not happen when your system is in fight and flight mode. It is impossible for it to be when it's in that sensory overload. It just doesn't work. Once you come back to calm, peace, and that serene feeling within yourself, that is when you can heal more clearly. We actually heal in the silence, in the quiet moments. That is where we find the greatest clarity. We no longer need external validation. It's where our energy becomes magnetic and all these people want to be around us because we are so calm and so free. Have you ever noticed that when you really are calm and peaceful, that everybody wants to be with you? And that's okay, because this is where we start creating from desire and not duty. Your soul knows how to lead you. It always knows what you need. It always has the answers. As I keep saying, everything you need is inside of you. It is there patiently waiting for you to connect. but it can't do it in overwhelm. It can't do it in burnout, and it certainly can't do it when you are the lowest person on your totem pole. You have to make yourself the priority. You need to put yourself first. You are number one after all. It is up to you to work out where in your life are you still surviving, even though your soul is ready to thrive. Even in your darkest moments where you are going through the downward spiral, your soul is still ready to survive and thrive and to get through it and to become so much more than you are right now. I want to take a moment and honor how far you've already come. Reflection is the most powerful tool you can look at. Even throughout this episode, I've looked at different aspects of myself and gone, I'm no longer that person I was back then. I am so much better now because I have let go of all these things and I've discovered a normal that is about me, not just surviving enough so that I don't die. If you're still listening to this episode, I really know that you are someone that is self-aware, someone who's done a lot of inner work, but thriving doesn't come from doing more. It comes from feeling safe enough to soften, safe enough to stop surviving. Survival mode becomes a pattern. It becomes a set of reflexes and learned behavior that we continue because it's the way that we know. It is up to us to change. Remember, you're not here just to cope. You're not here to constantly brace for what's coming next. You're here to live. Soul-led, spacious, and sovereign. You have this freedom, this free will, this choice inside of you. You get to choose what you go and do each day. Most of us don't choose well. We just follow the regulated pattern placed before us of what we're told to do, of how to live life. It doesn't have to be that way. You can make change. You can listen to your soul. It will guide you and tell you how to live the life you need to live. You just have to pay attention to it. Your intuition's much like a small child. When you're out of whack with it, it chucks tantrums, and that's why you feel bad and that's why you feel low, because it wants attention. And when you're giving it attention and you're listening to it, it is all happy, it's joyous, it's fun, it's reflective, it is beautiful, it is powerful as fuck. It will give you everything you need if you just let it. So if today's episode landed with you, I'd really love to hear from you. Feedback helps me curate episodes to what you need. If you want me to go through and help you with anything along this spiritual pathway, be it healing, be it intuition, or being any spiritual aspect of life at all, any coaching, anything that you want, let me know. I'm happy to make episodes around your questions. It really helps me to define the audience of who is listening to all of this information. I'm never going to stop. I love giving it out. I love sharing who I am, but I really do want to answer the questions that you have so that you don't feel alone. Because sometimes the spiritual awakening journey, you're going to lose a lot of friends. You're going to let go of a lot of people that are no longer there for you. I want to be able to give you something back. So if you're ready to go deeper, I'm going to put in a few links of different ways you can work with me. I can teach you some EFT to help you with the somatics of letting things go, give you some journal prompts. There are plenty of blogs on my website about this that will help you get out of survival mode. Because remember, you're not here just to survive. You are here to thrive. So until next time, keep trusting the nudges. Be gentle with yourself. You're safe to thrive now. Thanks for listening to the Spiritual Awakening with Shaz podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below so you don't miss an episode. You can also follow us on Facebook with the links below. Until next time, trust your intuition and let your spirit soar.